welcome to Unit 2 of IDT 3600. So this unit we're going to be looking at some standards. We have PELTS, we have ISTE, state and national standards. We also are looking at three-part learning objectives. So when we look at all these acronyms, what does that exactly mean? Let's have a look. So as an educator, there are standards that the Tennessee State Board of Education have created. They are the Professional Education Licensure Standards for Technology. These standards, for every unit you will see these standards, and these are standards for educators to show ways in which they can use technology as part of the licensure process. We also have ISTE. These are the International Society of Technology and Education Standards. There are two standards. There are standards for teachers, what you will do in the classroom. There are also standards for students, what students will be able to do in the classroom. So what do we do in this unit? We are going to look at the ISTE standards. There are 6 standards for students, and it's a really good idea to have a general understanding. You don't have to have them memorized, but you do need to know in general what these standards are. So what you're going to do is you are going to create a table in a Word document for each standard. So I have 4 columns. There will be 7 rows. The first row will be your title, and then for each standard you're going to put the title. So this is creativity and innovation. Here I have grabbed or done a screenshot of the standard, which you will find at this web address here, the iste.org standards for students, and I've just copied that. You can also do a Google search to find a PDF of this file and copy it. Then you're going to choose a profile. There are 3 different profiles depending on the age level, and each one has an age appropriate description of how the standard is used for students. And then in the final column I have a representation. Remember that in order to learn, it's a good idea to connect the learning either to an image or an idea in order to help move that information from short to long-term memory. And so for creativity and innovation, I've used some hands with lots of paint on, because this reminds me of students being original and creative. So you're going to do that for each standard, and then you're going to submit that in Dropbox. So the next part of the unit, we're looking at standards. Now you are going to choose one standard depending on whether you're PET or teaching all learners, and you're going to choose one grade level standard that you're going to use for all your assignments. The reason that we're doing that is, again, it's a very fast course, and in order to focus on the skills you are learning, rather than looking at different standards and ways they use, you're going to do that in different classes if you've not already done them already. So you're going to choose one standard from one topic. I recommend science, social studies, English and language arts. I would not recommend, although it can be done, math, just because some of the assignments require students to do research, and it's hard to research math concepts. It can be done, but you will be giving yourself a little bit more work. Up to you. If you are PET, then you're going to focus on some of the Tennessee standards for either health or wellness. Once you've got your standard, you can post it in discussions. You can email it me and say, is this a good standard for me to use for the duration of the semester, and I can give you some feedback. So click on the standards and have a look around. These are standards that you will use throughout your educational career. All that you do is aligned with standards. So what you are doing in this part is you are, based on your standard, you are going to create learning objectives. Now, a good learning objective is written in 3 parts. Let's have a look at that. So when you write a 3-step objective, what you're doing is that whatever students are learning, you need to be able to assess what they are doing. Okay, so a three-part objective consists of a description, a condition, and a criteria. The description describes what they will know or be able to do after the instruction is completed. The second is the conditions under which students will perform that. And then the third one is to what level of success students need to achieve. Okay, let's have a look at an example. So I've used geometry as my standard. It is first grade geometry. So my three-step objective is students will be able to create a composite shape from two-dimensional shapes, given the following shapes to choose from with 100% accuracy. This is what it would look like from the student's perspective. They're given all these shapes, they're given instructions of what to do, yeah? And then this is an example of what students will produce. And my three-part objective is a way in which that can be assessed. So when you write three-step objectives, there are good objectives and poor objectives. So these are examples of poor objectives. Good objectives have measurable verbs. If we look at Bloom's taxonomy, this is a really useful planning kit that I found on the internet. It has excellent words that you can use, keywords, action words, outcome words, question words, and you can click on this link down here to access it and save it. This is a great tool. Put that in your folder. A verb must be measurable. These are not measurable. You cannot measure understanding, knowledge, memorization. Demonstrate is a poor word. You can't measure to learn about. So let's take these three-step objectives or three-part objectives and let's rewrite them. And that's what I've done here. So given example paragraph, student will identify placement of all commas with 100% accuracy. I can measure that. I can, based on whatever my standard was, I can measure that my students are able to do what they are supposed to do. And this shows how the objective is split up based on condition, description, and criteria. Yeah? So if we look at this second one, so they are given a list of 15 different foods. They're going to organize at least 12 out of 15, that's to what level of success, into these categories as description. So given a map of the United States and a list of states, students will label each state correctly. Now here I don't have a percentage of accuracy, but it is stated implicitly here with each state correctly. This is the same as saying 100%. Yeah? Given a metric ruler, students will correctly, so again that implies 100%, measure the length of 10 common linear objects to the nearest millimeter. Yeah? Nearest millimeter. And then given poorly written objectives, the student will rewrite each instructional objectives with 3 steps based on grade and content area. So you have 2 assignments here. You are going to create 8 3-part learning objectives based on your grade and content area. And then you're also going to create a table that has all 6 ISTE standards. I have some extra worksheets on course content that shows you how to create these 3-part or 3-step learning objectives. If you have any questions at all, please post in discussions. As always, I wish you the very best of luck.